Welcome to Lost Culture, your one-stop destination for everything pop culture. My name's Aston. Today we're going to do a review for the Get Down episode 3. So we're just going to jump right into it, like from character to character. So, alright, let's get to it. So first character we're going to start off with is Big Ann. We don't see too much of Big Ann this episode. Only time we really see her is when she's playing around. Not really playing around. She's there with Shaolin. We see we see Shaolin's dancing for her. What else is he doing? Basically, the episode comes on. Shaolin's dancing for her. He's in this Pumas and some underwear, doing this thing. We already knew that Big Ann liked younger guys, and we knew Big Ann had a thing for Shaolin. We never knew how far the extent went. Like we seen her kiss him before, but we didn't know she had him in the back room stripping and basically laying pipe for a fee. So we get to see that. She's telling them like, look, ain't no way you learned this on your own. You're too young to learn this on your own. So that's basically all we get for Big Ann. Now we're gonna move on to Cadillac. Cadillac we see a couple times. He has a couple big plot lines in this episode. We see the first time we see Cadillac, he's in Les Inferno. That's where Ezekiel and his uncle's there working for him, and we see Ezekiel's uncle is sitting down, basically patronizing Ezekiel, telling him look, you want to be like me, blah blah blah. And that's when Cadillac walks in, look, we're not paying you to sit down and drink. It's not a picnic. We're here. We need you here to fix this club up so we can get back open. And that's when Ezekiel's uncle basically let him know, look, I'm not getting paid by the hour. We getting paid by a flat fee. So me sitting around and not doing anything at the moment, me taking a break at the moment, doesn't affect how much you actually pay. And you know how a Cadillac is basically a big spoiled kid. So he throws his tantrum, let him know look, if you want to talk back to me, you basically just fired. So we've seen that happen. We've seen Ezekiel. We see him actually recognize Ezekiel, so he runs up on Ezekiel, trying to get Maylene's number. And Ezekiel stood up for himself and didn't give it to him. So I'm glad we see Ezekiel actually toughen up a lot in this episode. So we'll get further on Ezekiel when we actually get to him. But so we see that, and then that's really it. No, Cadillac also, he walks in on this Big Ann and Shaolin in the room together, and Shaolin basically just sitting there. I think he's still in his drawers, but he's under the blanket. And Cadillac why this I think he called him faggot. He called him, I forgot what he called him. So he called him something that and let him know look, you tell anybody what you're doing with my mom, if you get smart with me, you talk back to me, I'm basically gonna kill you. And Shaolin just let him know, look, I'm here for the money. I'm not really into this. I'm just doing it for the money. So, and then Cadillac, when Cadillac finds that out, Cadillac, look, I got a job for you. Pays $100, and basically make this car disappear, and you'll get paid by the end of the day. And next time we see we see Cadillac. He's in the back room playing Mars Attack, I think it was. I know he was playing with the Atari, it looks like. And we see he's back there just chilling, doing nothing. And Shao come in hey, did you find Napoleon yet? Which we see obviously he hasn't. He's been out there chilling, doing nothing all day, playing video games and drinking. And that's when Moreno walks in. He basically let Moreno come in, and they're talking business. Moreno rubs me the wrong way. I know he's a drug addict. I know he's kind of washed up, but he uses the money that Francisco gives him to basically pay back Cadillac, and then he buys extra drugs on top of that. So I don't really see this working out good for Francisco. And we see it really didn't turn out, not for Francisco, but for Moreno, we see it really didn't turn out too good for him. So, yeah. But I'll get back on more on Moreno when we talk about Maylene's things in this episode. So now I'm gonna move on to my favorite character, Dizzy. Dizzy, he always so clueless. He always out of it. Now we really know why. It's because he does get high. He does take acid and everything. I said the last episode, it seems like Dizzy is always high. I knew he was a hippie. I figured he would smoke weed. I didn't know he was just doing acid and everything else. But Hey, we find out he does do acid, and he does on a pretty big scale when we actually get into this. Like we talk about Dizzy. So Dizzy, he's like out. Like we see him when he at the pawn shop. I don't know, pawn shop or electronic shop. They're trying to buy a turntable set and everything. And Dizzy basically like he spaces out. Like I feel like the Bronx is getting hotter. We're getting closer to the sun. I think they said it was the hottest day of the year or something like that. So obviously we see that happens. They go in, try to do the deal. They want to do it, and later on, once they buy the mixtape, we see they plan on throwing the party. We see Disney ask Disney to make Punch. His first response was like, "Oh, I took my last acid pill. I can't make the acid punch." But nobody was asking him to do acid punch. That was really more of like a joke right there for everybody to get humor out of it. I thought it was funny. Like, damn, Dizzy is always high. All he thinks about is drugs. And Dizzy, the punch they were trying to talk about was actually the 151 punch, which we see he ends up making. He actually gets the party popping. We see he's actually pushing up on girls. I like young Dizzy. Like Jaden don't get enough camera time in my personal opinion. Maybe in part two he'll get more, but I don't think it'll change any either. There's only 3 episodes left of this, so I don't know. Like we really haven't seen too much of Jaden. He gets these little shots in. We'll see like they'll linger on him, but he doesn't really get too much talking going on. So maybe in the next season or in part two he'll get more camera time, but only time will tell. So let's move over to Rara. Rara, he's the master planner right around here. We see when they're trying to find money, he gives everybody their jobs and what to do. He gives Rara like go around the he gives Dizzy a job to go around the house, look inside like the couches and everything, trying to find all the change and everything. And that's really it. He talks to the electronic shop owner, and he gets the money. Well, he tries to get the payment plan, but it just wasn't happening. When the electronic owner lets him know, like, look, I got this Grandmaster flash tape that somebody told me is worth $100 and it's dangerous to have. He's the first to jump on it. Like, look, I'll give you $10 for it, knowing that the owner doesn't really know the real worth of it. He doesn't really like the music, so he doesn't really understand it. So they get a steal on that. They use that to throw a party, and like, it goes downhill from there for them. Like we see the party is actually popping. They got their mom's beauty salon open for the party. I don't know how much they were charging, but look, he had a lot of money. The one thing I didn't understand about Ra Ra, if you're collecting money at a door, why are you just sitting there counting the money with the door open? He set himself up for that, like for the Caesars, I think they call themselves, to take all the money and then shut the party down. Like he should have had the door closed and made him knock on the door. And he'd look out the window. That's my personal opinion. I would check the door, make sure it's safe before I would open the door. But he's had the door cracked. He's sticking out the money, and he set himself up for that failure. But that's like doesn't matter anymore. We see that happens, and we see Ra Ra get the gun to his head. He's real shook when the Caesars do that. And again, we see Ezekiel stands up for himself. Like we see Ezekiel actually manning up. I don't know how far this is gonna go. Like I don't know, like he's trying to go down a dark path, but I'll get more Ezekiel when I get to Ezekiel. So I don't really see this ending too well for Ezekiel, but never know. Boo Boo. Boo Boo has been stepping up. We see like every episode he gets more and more camera time. He gets more things to do. We see he got him a little DJ name, DJ Boo Nasty. We see he fixed one of the turntables that Dizzy managed to save. And even though the turntable is broke, we see he's up there like he's pretending to mix. Anytime Grandmaster Flash tags come on, he yells his name out, DJ Boot Nasty. I don't know how like the crowd didn't catch on to that. They really must have been into that music pretty well. Cause like even the tag and then his name really didn't even match. His voice and the tag really didn't match. So We got to see that, and I understand how he didn't know that the Caesars came in. We see he's still pretending to mix, even after the Caesars has pulled the tape out. And like, I don't know what it is, but everybody call him Boo Boo a midget. Is he older than what we're supposed to believe? Like, everybody calls Boo Boo a midget when they see him. He must be a little bit older than we're actually meant to believe that he is. So, and now we're moving on to Francisco. Francisco. He's pretty messed up in my opinion. Like, we see he's doing the business and everything. He's trying to make his business actually look clean because he has some big appointment going on. Like he said, for the last month he had to look clean for everything, and people are messing up. But at that moment when he's yelling at one of his employees, we see Maylene's mom walk in. She tells us like, "Look, my husband's talking about committing suicide. My family's in ruin. I'm thinking about committing suicide with my husband if he does do it. And all we really want is our daughter back. And it's your fault that our daughter is in, or our family is in this situation." And that's when we see Francisco lets them know, like, "I'm sorry for everything that happened. I don't want to see my brother get hurt. I don't want to see you get hurt. I Like, it was pretty good. I think she kind of tells him like to back off again. Like, you need to find a family of your own or whatever. And he kind of implies that he's waiting on her to leave his brother, which is kind of messed up because he just said like he cared about his brother. He's always going to make sure his brother is good and well off. But at the same time, he's plotting his wife, and he says my Maylene. I don't know if he meant because how close they are. Like, we see him and Maylene has a pretty close relationship, or is it maybe him and his brother's wife had something going on in the past, and like they might have had a child together. Maybe that'll turn out later on in the season. We'll find out that Maylene is really her uncle's daughter. I don't know what could happen because it seems like we see when they start dancing and everything, the lights go out. He gives her the big brick of money, like, "Look, put it into the church a little bit at a time." But that's more for his brother, I think. But regardless of the fact, she shouldn't have been there by herself. Like, and like that dance and everything, and all the way they were talking to each other, it seems like they have more going on. So I would love to see how this turns out, what's going on between those two. So now we got Francisco done. We didn't see Grandmaster this episode, but we got to see like the Caesars working his behalf. Like, we see that he has people on payroll to actually go around the parties and make sure that no one's really not really imitating him, but pretending to be him. So we see like the Grandmaster flash tape is being used. The Caesars came, they confiscated the tape, and they shut the party down. Let everybody know, like, look, this isn't them. They're fake. And once we report back to Grandmaster Flash, the Fantastic Four plus one is dead. And I kind of agree with that. It's pretty messed up, but at their like their real intent wasn't like they didn't have any like malicious intent from what they were doing. They were just trying to get their money built back up so they can actually get back into the game how they were doing. And even though if they did was wrong, like I said, I respect what they was doing, but I understand what they were doing was wrong. So I can't really get mad at them for what they were doing. Like, they're young kids. Like, young kids, they're gonna try to find ways to make money if they need it. So that's what they did. They weren't harming anybody, even though. So yeah. Now we're gonna move on back to Big Izzy. So no, let's do Shaolin first. So Shaolin, we see Shaolin makes a little bit of money. He's hanging out. He goes back to the group, let everybody know, like, look, he lets Ezekiel know, like, I'm sorry. I apologize for everything that I did, like, not everything I did, but everything I said. No, I was just caught up in the moment. I apologize for that. The fire had my head all messed up. Now he got a little bit of money. He good again, like, he's relaxed. I think for Shao, he's just not used to not having money. And he had just left his hustle for a new hustle. And at that blink of an eye, he got his whole new hustle just torn away from him. So I think that really messed him up at the moment. Like, I respect that he apologized. But with Ezekiel and the group holding that secret from him about Grandmaster Flash, I don't see this as like, we see through the episode, it's kind of like, we see the boys are all like, should we tell him now? Should we tell him now? Everybody's like, no, just wait off on it. We'll find a better time to tell him. But they never did. Me personally, I feel like the best time to tell him was when they had found the dead body in the car. Again, we hear Boo Boo with the master plan. Boo Boo's like, look, we forgot the power speakers in the back. We can use those for money. Everybody gets excited. They open the trunk. There's a dead body. And Shaw like, damn, this like Cadillac just basically fucked me over again. He always put me in these predicaments. We're always doing something that's pretty messed up. Nobody let them know what's going on. And it is true, Shaolin, not Shaolin, but Cadillac is a pretty grimy dude. I mean, if you're gonna pay somebody, at least let them know what's really going on. Like, let them know what's really going on. So, but Shaolin in Shaolin fashion, he just mans up. With Ezekiel's help, he pulls the team back together. They get everything figured out. Like, look, make sure you didn't leave nothing in the car to be identified. And we're just going to push it right. We're going to continue with our plan. Just going to push it right into the water like nothing happened. So, that's really all we find out for Shaolin. Oh, nah. And Shaolin gets a little moment with Maylene again. We see, he doesn't call her a bitch or anything in this episode, but he's really like, oh, is that your girl? Ezekiel's on his little manning up fashion, hard on the female. And he's like, nah, I didn't think so. Hurts Maylene's feelings a little bit. We see when Shaolin and Ezekiel are on top of the car just talking, everybody's dancing and everything. He lets her know, like, look, you setting yourself up to be hurt. And you think you a player, but all players in the end up getting played. Players think they're playing, but they're actually getting played in the end. And Shaolin lets her know that's why I treat females the way I treat them, because either they're going to play me or I'm going to play them. And Shaolin Fantastic is the game. So, hey, I tell you, Shaolin be dropping knowledge sometimes, but hey, I don't know what Ezekiel, like we see Ezekiel is actually learning from him. He's actually taking everything into consideration that Shaolin tells him. But at the same time, Shaolin and Ezekiel are two different people. I don't think Ezekiel should really take in everything that Shaolin takes him. Like, he should listen to it and put his spin on it. Not really just, he shouldn't just follow blindly, which we see he's not really following blindly, but he is starting to take more to Shaolin's nature as the show proceeds on. Now that we're done with Shao, let's talk about Ezekiel. Ezekiel, young bucks. He's stepping up into his own. Like, we see he's growing up. We see he's actually manning up in many aspects. He knew the team needed money. So what he do? He teams up with his uncle. Uncle's pretty hesitant about it at first. Uncle doesn't want to really give him a job. He just tell him, like, look, I was just joking around when I told you about making a man out of you. I was just giving you a hard time. But then, forget it, man. I'll just bring you along. And we see Ezekiel doesn't really want to go because, he doesn't like Cadillac, and he doesn't like Les Inferno. He feels like that's like a bad place to be. It's just a place for sin and everything, especially after everything that happened with Maylene. He was there last time. They got shot up. And again, he does not like Cadillac. He does not like Cadillac, like, whatsoever. I don't think he really likes the gangster lifestyle that Cadillac portrays. That's like his biggest issue with Cadillac. So we know he really doesn't want to be there. When he gets there, we see he's actually working harder. He got like 5 hours in. His uncle's taking a break. His uncle's like teasing him. And he lets his uncle know, like, look, I don't want to be like you. I just need money at the moment, so I'm here doing what I got to do to get this money. And that's like that's really it. And then Cadillac walks in. Like we went over earlier, Cadillac walks in, basically fires him because like his uncle talking to him. Then he recognizes Ezekiel. He asks for Maylene's number. He pushes him up. He roughs him up a little bit. And you see, like, Ezekiel's uncle, even though, like, we see Ezekiel's uncle's kind of rough on him, but you see he's stepping up. He's inching further and further towards Cadillac and Ezekiel to see what's really going on. He's making sure that we see Cadillac pushes him, but he doesn't really do any, like, real, like, physical force to him. I think if it went any further, Ezekiel's uncle would have actually jumped in and broke it up. And we see when he actually stands up for Ezekiel, we see Cadillac pushes him down, and that's when but Ezekiel and Uncle had that moment like, I told you I really didn't want to come here. But we see his uncle doesn't really question how he knows Cadillac, and we see that it's really over a girl. I don't know if they uncle know Maylene or anything, but what yeah, he doesn't really ask any questions. He just like, yeah, he's a tough guy I gotta put up with. So I don't know if Ezekiel actually got paid for that. Cause remember his uncle said basically like I think 70% or something like that. What you make comes back to me. So we see that we see that Ezekiel's like for every moment like we see Ezekiel, he's toughening up a little bit more. We see when the Caesars come into the party and break it up. You're like, look, you're not getting that money without a fair one. And even though I think Ezekiel would have got his ass wiped, at least he stood up for himself. Like, look, you're not just gonna come in here and take our money like we some chumps. And that's when the guns come out, and we see he pushes the Rah Rah's head, and Ezekiel backs down. He's more worried like for his friend than he is, I think, afraid. But either way, we see he stops and like, look, okay, just giving him money. And once like after Ezekiel kind of challenged them, we see them they do damage to the shop. They break everything up a little bit, and I think this is like perfect timing for them though, as far as the shop being damaged. Cause later that night we see that that the little blackout happens. So like me as a teenager, we see the blackout happen. We see all the looting happen. I personally would just blame it on that. Like you're not gonna give me an out, and I'm not gonna take it. I have to be a fool not to take that out. So I'm hoping they actually do that. One thing that did kind of bug me about that scene though is when Shaolin showed up with the car and he apologized to Ezekiel. All the like everybody, well, I don't think so. The group didn't really know that Ezekiel and Shao had a fallout. So we see they're in the car. They're just happy to see Shao was around. But at the same time, they just knowing they just got their little salon damage. They just up and leave like it's nothing. I think I had a real problem with that. I feel like they should have stuck around, at least cleaned up a little bit. But it doesn't really matter. And then we're going on further with that. We see Ezekiel have his conversation. He's forced to choose between Maylene and Shao. And he chose Shaolin over Maylene. So, which is kind of odd because in the first episode, he chose like Maylene over Shao. Now we see he's actually choosing Shao over Maylene. And then when they actually find the dead body in the car, we see Ezekiel mans up again. He comes in like, look, we're a brotherhood now. Fantastic Four plus one is dead. Like once we do this, Fantastic Four plus one is dead. We forever from now on we'll be the Get Down Brothers. And I kind of respect that, but I don't think it's gonna last because of the Grandmaster Flash situation. Nobody told Shaolin about what really happened. Everybody's like tiptoeing around it. At that moment was the perfect time to tell Shaolin to where they were on even grounds, to where Shao kind of brought them into a shitty situation. They accidentally brought a shitty situation on the Shao. It kind of would have like voided out, but since they didn't tell him, I feel like we only got 3 episodes left, so it's probably gonna be next episode. Something's gonna happen again. Shaolin leaves the group once again. So yeah, that's what happened. But we do see Ezekiel like he is kind of torn up about his day. Everything's break up. That's when we see Maylene comes in. She's talking to him like, hey, we tell each other all of our secrets and stuff. After, like, Ezekiel kind of brushed her off a couple times this episode. We see the first time they see each other this episode, he just says, hey. And she's like, you're not happy to see me? Like, yeah, he just brushes her off. She gives him a present. He just says thanks, and he leaves the room. And now he chose the Shaolin over her. And then at the end of the day, they meet up again. And they kind of basically, I guess they're together now. Because at the end of the episode, we see they're kind of kissing. They're laying down on the couch, but they're fully dressed. I don't know. I'm guessing we're made to assume that they had sex on top of on top of the bando. I think that was a bando apartment, or it might have been Dizzy's house. But they're all in the house, and we see Maylene and Ezekiel sneak out, talking, they're kissing and everything. And I guess we're made to believe they actually had sex up there. Now we're gonna move on to Maylene. We see she's working on that like horrible disco songs, and it was kind of weird to me that Moreno would ask her, does she know what like a prelude is? And if she felt horny by the song or whatever. I thought that was kind of like really inappropriate, real creepish, just off the age difference alone. Like that was just like some weird stuff to talk about. And yeah, but I'm glad to see she stuck it out. She stuck with him, even though like those sessions was going nowhere fast. We see Moreno's all drugged out. The engineer is upset. He's annoyed. Like the song's horrible. He tells her the truth. And after all that breaks down, we see Moreno and Maylene actually have a heart to heart, just talking about, look, I'm washed up. Nobody really cares about me anymore in this business. You're better off like going on by yourself. And she tells him, like, look, I don't want nobody else. I'm already with you. We can get this figured out. I won't tell my uncle what's really going on. We can work this out before he gets involved. And that's cool that he has her on his side, but I think them lying about it is going to make more trouble in the long run than anything. So, and she's like talking to him about advice, like, what's your professional advice? That's like I said earlier, he tells her, like, I'm washed up. I'm not relevant anymore. And she said, do you think I'm a star? Like, it doesn't really matter what I think. All that matters is, do you think you're a star? If you don't think you're a star, we're basically wasting our time here. You're never going to succeed if you don't believe in yourself. So he gives her pretty good advice, and she holds him down. And that's really it for the episode. It was an alright episode. Like I said, the biggest thing that affects me, that I like about this episode, is basically, like, I like how the group, how they're building like the bond and everything. I see the boys are actually getting closer and closer through every episode. And I finally found out what I didn't like about those cutscenes. Like, I still don't like the cutscenes. I think it's because they go to like the real footage and then they go to like the footage that they taped. The difference between the real footage and the actual footage that they're shooting is just so, the quality of the footage is just so much different that it bugs me every time they do that. So that's like my biggest complaint about this is that, like, they should have found some type of way to enhance the old footage some type of way. And that's what's throwing me off that I really don't like about the cutscenes. But that's really my only complaint about this. Also, there are ways of complaining to explain the blackout. I know the blackout was a real event that happened, but it was like the sunniest day, and then the way they explained the blackout was like by lightning hitting it. We didn't see any storm clouds. We didn't see any rain or anything happen. We just seen looting. We seen how hot it was, and then we see the blackout. So I don't understand how those happen in the same day. Even when Maylene and Ezekiel go upstairs, those two they're out in like a clear sky environment. So that they could have explained better. That was my biggest issue with this episode. And I still like Nas's like rapping at the beginning of the tracks, beginning of the episode. So I still like that. And my breakdown move of the week had to go to DJ Boo Nasty. We see he's on the turntables. He's faking the funk. Anytime the tag comes in, he yells his name. And I gotta give it to DJ Boo Nasty. He did his thing this episode. Little by little, he's starting to become more of my favorites between him and Dizzy. I like Dizzy more because Dizzy just has those memorable moments in each episode. But Boo does a lot every episode too. So that's all we have for this episode of the Get Down recap. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment if you feel like something I missed. And thank you for tuning in. As always, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Lost_Culture. Follow me on Instagram at Saint_Aston. As always, stay lost.